Mary Pierce has found many reasons to smile this spring. Among them, a recent engagement and a rejuvenated tennis game. At age 15, she made her debut here in Paris. At 19, she reached the finals, falling one match short of the title. Expressions of creativity on the clay this year are uniquely Mary. And after beating the best in the world, her dream title awaits. Conchita Martinez is a seasoned clay court specialist who's made the visit to Roland Garros each year since 1988. She became the first Spanish woman ever to win on the grass of Wimbledon. But every Spaniard dreams of winning at Roland Garros. And at age 28, Conchita's aware the time is relevant, and the title that has eluded her is within reach.
The 2000 French Open, presented by BNP Paribas.
Saturday has dawned gray and chilly in Paris, but it hasn't dampened the enthusiasm of the French tennis fans. Today they come to Roland Garros for a rare chance to see one of their own try to win the French Open. Conchita Martinez and Mary Pierce making the walk up the stairs onto Court Central. And for both of them, a chance to realize a dream today. And for Mary Pierce, the eyes of a nation are upon her as they play for the Women's Championship at Roland Garros, and a chance to lift high the championship trophy. Mary Pierce and Conchita Martinez, welcome, bienvenue to Paris in our coverage of the women's final here on NBC with John McEnroe, Ted Robinson. What does this mean in France? Mary Pierce, an adopted daughter of this country. Well, when she beat Martina Hingis in the semifinals, almost 60% of the television viewers in France were watching. And John, I showed Mary Pierce this sheet yesterday. She looked at it, and her eyes bugged out. She couldn't believe the impact that this has had on her.
You know, they're a fickle crowd here, Ted, but they're very forgiving. They've given her a hard time in the past, but she said it best when she said, when I win, I'm French. When I lose, I'm the American part. Her father's American. We're going to take a look at a graphic here, which shows how strange this thing has all panned out. She was born here in Montreal, over in Montreal, lives now in Florida. Her mother, Yannick, is French. Jim Pierce, the American, and what happened was when she was a kid, Ted, she was not supported by the USTA, so she decided to come over to France. Well, I think it was a good decision for her, and now, at 25 years of age, this is a tremendous moment. And, you know, I've talked about this a lot, too. Tennis is a much bigger sport. I've got to say it's a much bigger sport outside. Even when Sampras and Agassi played down in Australia, 50% of the audience there was watching that match. Now we got 55, 60 watching Mary Pierce today.
All right, Mary Pierce playing in France now for her 10th year. That's right, she does feel like this is her homeland. Well, for Conchita Martinez, a chance to realize a dream too as well, John. In fact, she's used that word in all of her interviews during this French Open. For all Spaniards, this is the event they grew up watching. Of course, they grew up playing on red clay. It's their dream to win here at Roland Garros.
This is their big one. I mean, there's no question about the fact that Europeans that grow up in this clay, and when you watch Conchita Martinez play, she's definitely well suited to clay. Her record here has been incredibly consistent. Never lost before the fourth round. 6 quarters, 3 semis, finally the breakthrough. What amazes me is that her one Grand Slam title, Ted, was at Wimbledon, where she showed a lot of diversity, and I think that's what she's going to need to do today, because we know she's got the clay court game. But Mary Pierce, clearly the more powerful of the two. Clearly the crowd's going to be well behind her today, and Conchita needs to show that she's got more than just those looping ground strokes and the strokes that we come to expect from the Spanish men and women players.
All right, with more on today's women's final, let's join Bud Collins.
Thanks, Ted. You know, this has not always been a happy clay pit for Mary Pierce. She has been booed off this court by her impatient fans. It happened the first time out here. She was against Jennifer Capriati in a 4th-round match, and those were the 2 hottest teenagers in the world. Capriati went on to the gold medal that year, and Pierce double faulted on match point. She left in tears. But her father said to me, You just wait. You just wait. And as time goes by, my daughter will go ahead of Jennifer Capriati. It seemed a wild prediction at the time, but it was prophetic, Ted.
Well, Mary Pierce and Conchita Martinez combined have played in 24 Roland Garros championships. They each have a Grand Slam title to their name, but neither has won at the French Open. One will realize their dream in the women's final coming up next. But thus far, the rain has held off, much to everyone's delight. Mary Pierce, of course, experienced that once before here. Her other final against Arantxa Sanchez Vicario in '94 delayed by rain. Her 11th French Open at age 25, and a good year highlighted by an outstanding clay court win at Hilton Head, John, that really propelled her into this event.
Well, she played fabulous tennis there. We see how she got there. Tara Schneider, Barbara Ritter, Virginia Ruzano, all easy wins. Things got a whole lot tougher after that. Carlson wasn't too tough, but Monica Seles, a big win there after dropping the first. And Hingis, match point up in the second, still rebounding with cramps to pull that out in 3 sets. This is eerily similar in a lot of ways as we look at Conchita Martinez to her other final here at the French. Mary getting the big hand, and we should point out that the stadium is packed already as we look at the 28-year-old Spaniard. Conchita Martinez has had an excellent year already this year. I believe she's 5 in the world.
And a much easier road for Conchita through the draw.
Well, yes and no. Cara Black gave her all she could handle in the second round, dropping the first and pulling that one out. A tight affair, 7-5, 6-4. Sugiyama gave her a run for her money as well. She came back there. Her run of 13 straight French Opens, getting at least to the 16s, was in jeopardy early in that. And the surprise to me was how easily she defeated Sanchez Vicario in the semifinals, 1-2. And what I say is eerily similar is that Mary Pierce played so well. As we take a look at their head-to-head, 10-6, and last year, second round, that's a tough second-round match, Martinez-Pierce. But the fact that she beat Steffi Graf in that great match in the French Open semifinals, and then lost to Arantxa Sanchez Vicario, and now all of a sudden she's had 2 great wins with Seles and Hingis, and now plays another Spaniard, Conchita Martinez.
Well, Bud Collins had a chance to speak with both of the participants in this women's championship to get their feelings about this match.
I'm gonna fight, and being in a final of Grand Slam, you know, it's a great opportunity, and I'm not gonna let it, you know, go.
Her game is a very tough game to play against on clay. You know, she brings a lot of balls back, and the times that I've played her, she has done that, you know, bring the ball back and put it high and deep. And so, yeah, I know what to expect, and she's a tough opponent on clay.
I'm gonna try my best. I mean, I'm gonna try to make her go crazy if I can.
Can she?
Well, yeah, she tries.
And I think Conchita Martinez did drive Arantxa crazy in the semis here on Thursday.
That was one of the strangest first serves I've ever seen in a match. Almost sideways motion. Conchita immediately battling the wind here. Virtually nothing on that serve. And she's going to test Pierce, see how uptight she is. Conchita is certainly the more consistent of the two. Mary clearly more powerful and I believe in far better shape as well. That's smack on the line. Although we looked at this earlier, Ted, that Conchita Martinez has not missed a Grand Slam. This is 35 in a row now since 1991. Mary trying to get rid of a few butterflies there.
That is an exceptional mark to play 35 consecutive slams.
That's smack on the line. And that's what I'd like to see Conchita do more of. She has a tendency to get into a rhythm where she slices an awful lot of backhands. I think she has an excellent topspin backhand when she decides to hit it. There she fooled Mary Pierce.
People may be wondering how these two could meet in a final this year and last year play here in the second round. But that was because Conchita Martinez was an unseeded player here last year. Her game had fallen, or she had dropped in her ranks into the 20s.
The French Open, along with the U.S. Open and the Australian, just go by the rankings on the men's and women's side. Now, Conchita Martinez is obviously one of the 10 best clay court players in the world. She had some poor results on other surfaces last year, was unseeded. She's rebounded this year, had a good, solid, strong year.
And John, one match for Conchita Martinez probably turned it around. It was about 6 weeks ago. She won in Berlin her 20th clay court title, and she beat Martina Hingis in that tournament. And I asked Conchita that the other day. She said that's the match that gave me the feeling I could still win a Grand Slam and win here at Roland Garros.
Also the finals down in Australia, Amelia Island as well. A couple semis, including the Australian Open. Quarterfinals at Indian Wells, which is on hard courts. She's really come on strong this year. You won't see that too often. That was a pretty easy ball that she missed. But I'm excited. So just the feeling of being a part of a Grand Slam final. You know, these two had trouble sleeping last night. I heard Mary say, "Oh, I'm just going to treat this like any other match." Yeah, right. Good chance.
Well, these two are in rare company. There are only 8 active women who've won a Grand Slam, and these two are in that company.
That's where that power comes in. Well, they're the group that you just referred to. Ave Maioli. She's pretty much it. Where is she? We don't know about all the others.
Maioli's falling into the 300s in the rankings.
Serena Williams, we hope and expect to be back at Wimbledon. Injured here.
Avantage, Mademoiselle Martinez.
Surprisingly, Conchita getting impatient there first. The typical clay court point. Pierce more power. Conchita using those looping ground strokes, but eventually trying to cut that drop shot way too fine.
Yannick Pierce, born in France, and so when Mary Pierce's father had reached the height of his problems and the USTA severed relationships with the Pierces, because of Yannick's French heritage, they were able to come here, ask for support, and receive it from the French Federation.
Mary, you may remember from that semifinal with Martina Hingis, cramped up at the end of that match. Continued cramping in the locker room. Needed quite a bit of time. Intravenous fluids, among other things. Did see her out in the doubles court yesterday with Martina Hingis, and that was good for her to get out there. And you do have a tendency, Ted, if you don't have to play, maybe of not, you know, being able to motivate. But the fact that she had a doubles match to play, I think, helped her. Get her back out in the court. She and Martina won in 3 sets.
Merci.
A long first game here. Pierce having had 1 break chance.
Nice to see, by the way, the top women players. I know they only play 2 out of 3, but nice to see them playing doubles as well. You don't see that in the men's game.
And so finally, Conchita Martinez able to hold in the first game of the match.
We talked earlier about her year. We know how tough she is on clay. German Open on clay, Millie Island as well. She can play on all this stuff. I mean, I'm amazed when I look at Conchita, who you got to call Miss Consistency, durability as well, is the fact that her one major was at Wimbledon when she beat Martina Navratilova, who, if I'm not mistaken, has won 9 Wimbledon singles. I mean, that's an incredible win for her. Quite frankly, I would have thought that she would have been in the finals of the French before now. She does have a tendency to float that backhand, and that would give Mary plenty of time to use her power to take advantage and get ahead in points. Same thing there. I like seeing Mary. She just switched sides, which I think they should be forced to do, the players, because they've come up with this new rule where you're supposed to just switch. She went on the far side of the court, didn't towel off, didn't get any water. We're already seeing the players take advantage of that. Get a few games under our belt. Mary giving Conchita a taste of her own medicine. She's got to respect the flat forehand, so that is a good play for Mary, especially when the ball is that low, excuse me, that short, and with really nothing on it. That's smack on the line. Mary levels it 1-all.
Well, that's a very good omen for Pearson that she made Martinez work hard to hold. And then Pierce serves a game out at love.
Well, there's a career record. Been around quite a long time for 25. That one slam down in Australia in '95. Both players capable doubles players. Conchita's won her share of doubles events as well. Not as quite as many as Mary. I think I saw 9 career titles. 32 singles, along with 32 singles. A record to be proud of. She definitely hasn't found the range on that side.
0-15.
Only Monica Seles has won more titles than Martinez, 32 among active players, and 20 on clay.
Is that all?
Conchita Martinez parents. Conchita and Cecilio.
Tougher to hit those passing shots in the finals of the French Open. That was a very makeable forehand. Conchita finds herself in a bit of trouble here at love 30. Dropped 6 points in a row. Pierce, after all these years on the circuit, getting closer and closer to returning to me, as well as Monica Seles. And she is stepping in and cracking that second serve. 3 break points.
Breaks at love and has the first edge in this women's championship.
Trip.com, the smart site for smart business travelers. Trip.com, simply brilliant. By Morgan Stanley Gene Witter, we measure success one investor at a time. And by Lincoln, American Luxury.
Well, part of Conchita Martinez's turnaround this year she attributes to the sports psychologist from Spain that has traveled with her to Roland Garros, Guillermo Perez. And Conchita spoke with our Bud Collins about it.
I've been working with him for a few years now, and you know, he helps me a lot in my relax, you know, like we do techniques for that, and you know, and other stuff that we talk about doing, you know, what happens if it happens this, and you know, things that I had to do, breathing, feeling good with yourself, be positive.
So you combine that with a new coach she's working with, former tour player Patricia Tarabini. And Martinez admits herself, she says, I'm actually starting to smile on the court now. She's been one of the most dour appearances that you would ever see.
Well, you hear that from virtually any and all sports psychologists. So try to be more positive on the court. You know, try to smile if you can. Feel good about yourself. That's a good idea. But when you're...
Did you ever try that? Is that what you're telling me?
Believe it or not, I did. I'm still trying it. She had scrambled well here, but she once again did not have any juice on her ground strokes. And Mary Pierce waits patiently, sees her look or move left, and easy winner there to 15 all.
And for someone who cramped so badly at the end of her match Thursday, John, she said she came back, played doubles yesterday, and looks to be moving well here.
Well, once again, she approaches the net because she sees that Conchita's taking her racket back and is only going to be able to hit a slice backhand, which means she's not going to put a lot on it. And I know Conchita's disappointed she wasn't at least able to get that lower. Martinez, Ted, has really lost her way here. Just what Mary wanted, a quick early lead.
3-1 for Pierce in her year, including a terrific season on clay.
Well, Hilton Head was where she really developed some big-time confidence. A couple semis on the hard courts and ready for Roland Garros, and the crowd, to much to her pleasure, has been really, really supportive of her. I mean, she's had some tough times here.
That's now 13 of the last 14 points that Pierce has won. But you mentioned the tough times, John, and Mary Pierce, as Bud Collins said, has been booed off the court here for inconsistent performances during the French Open. And then she had a falling out with Yannick Noah at Fed Cup. And that seemed to really cement her place on the other side, the wrong side of the French fans.
Well, Yannick was the last Frenchman to win this title back in '83. You have to go back to '67. Francois Durr, who actually was Algerian-born, French lady who won here. So they're a little desperate now. So they've forgiven quickly because she's not going to win a whole lot of PR battles with Yannick Noah here.
And don't forget to log on to MSNBCSports.com. Click on NBC's Tennis Central for in-depth coverage of the French Open and daily commentary from Bud Collins. MSNBCSports.com.
Conchita is saying to Mary, if you don't mind, hit me some forehands for a while. Got more power, I'm more confident. Backhand's not working. Martinez playing at a very, very slow pace so far in this match.
Mary Pierce not cooperating.
The shot of the 90s, a swinging forehand volley. See that in the men's and women's game. Once again, going after the backhand. Just ripped that. That's when you know you're confident. You're hitting swinging forehand volleys from below the net.
Now, if you're a player like Conchita Martinez and you know that one of your sides isn't working, what can you do to cover that up?
I'd like to see her, as I said, even from the very outset, come over the ball more. She's capable of doing it. Just she's got to force herself to get out of this rhythm she's in. Now, she's tight. So she's got to try to loosen herself up. Sometimes you can hit your way out. Can't believe she got that much power from that position there.
And I think there, John, evidence again of Pierce's improved fitness.
There's no question she's as fit as I've ever seen her. Conchita thought she was in position to run down the reply, but Mary just not only got the angle, but she got some pretty good heat on it.
That's painful to watch, that serve.
The serve is just, I don't know what's going on right now. She's going to have tendonitis by the second set. Mary obviously working with a sports psychologist also. A little grin when she saw Martinez miss that. Difference from the previous one that Mary had hit is the fact that Conchita backed off as she was about to hit it. If you're gonna hit that shot, you better commit to going for it.
So here's really the first set hanging on the balance on this point for Martinez.
This is the women's game, though, Ted. You know, they do have a tendency to break serve more often. Exactly the type of points that Martinez wants to play.
Certainly we saw Pierce and Hingis in their semifinal trade a ton of service breaks, including when Pierce was serving for the match.
Early in the match, no one could hold. She couldn't put it away in the second, and still won 6-2 in the thirds. She can hit that shot effectively. I think she's going to be holding up her first French Open title in about an hour or so, because you see Martinez is well behind the baseline here, expecting some power. And that was pretty well disguised, I'll tell you. Totally fooled Conchita. Another break point. Smart clay court play there.
So there's the second break for Mary Pierce. And now So she has command of the first set, 4 games to 1.
I'm not really close to Anna Kournikova. First of all, there's that whole language thing.
A PE ratio is price divided by earnings. Earnings per share is a company's net income minus preferred dividends.
It's like she's speaking a different language.
Can anyone say asset allocation? Mid cap, small cap.
When we created a smarter kind of investment firm,
Growth fund.
we created a smarter kind of investor.
Besides, some of the other players are kind of jealous of her, you know, portfolio.
The French tennis is the incomparable Suzanne Lenglen. She won the French championship 6 times in the 1920s, setting the standard for style on and off the court. 4 decades later, it was Françoise Durr who upheld the French legacy. And today, Mary Pierce is the hometown darling. With strong partisan support, she's trying to become the first French woman to win here in over 30 years. And there's the trophy. The one on the right named for Suzanne Lenglen, and you can see how times have changed here in France. When Françoise Durr won, John, in 1967, it didn't appear that there were very many people in the stands.
No, and that is a good news for tennis, because you know people have talked about tennis recently struggling, but you can see we've come a long way since the 60s. I remember back in the 70s, even early 70s, when Nastase won the title here, and he's certainly a well-known figure in the sport of tennis. Half full stadium. Françoise Durr looked about 10%. Today, packed house. Mary
Packed
Pierce.
house and a beautiful, John, setting for tennis here. Compact stadium. Every seat you feel like you're right on top of the court.
Hint, hint. For those USTA folks, Mary Pierce got some pretty good velocity on that serve, and Martinez looks like a confused soul out there at the moment, just not able to conjure up anything. Remember, she won the first game. It's been all downhill since. Call her sports psychologist, what's his name, Guillermo? Tell him that she needs to put a smile on her face. See how easy it's to do when you're down 4-1, 2 breaks.
S'il vous plaît.
There's Dr. Guillermo Perez.
Must say the best outfit I've seen for an umpire for quite a while. Got some style here.
Sandra Dejenkin from France.
Well, I thought that ball was wide. Martinez thought so as well. She's going to take a long look. Total miss hit for Mary Pierce. You know everything's going her way right now. Apparently clipped the outside, and she had a wide open court. That's when you pay a price for not really playing it. Martinez was expecting it to be a shot she wouldn't even have to hit. Instead, she found herself off the court. And now down 40-15.
So Mary Pierce has held her serves easily in this first set and now leads 5 games to 1.
NBC.
Gonna have to try to shake this set off. First of all, trying to hold to stay in it. It has not been the start of her dreams.
Not only is she getting badly outplayed, but Mary Pierce is giving her the stare down on the changeovers. Looking to further intimidate her.
Pierce on her serve, 3 service games, has only lost 2 points.
15-0.
Well, I suppose the good news is that Conchita has twice come from a set down. We showed earlier Sugiyama as well as Cara Black.
Those of you that wish to keep following things online, the official French Open website is at frenchopen.org. It's powered by IBM.
The weather has cooled considerably, Ted, but Conchita really looks like she's stiff out there. She's just not moving well. She's usually such a hustler and covers a lot of ground on these clay courts, and just feels like she's got any rhythm at all going. No confidence at the moment. Big problems for her. I mean, that's an example. I mean, she's just not getting herself in position there. That was a good shot, but you got to push harder there. Force yourself to get those feet moving. Bounce around a little bit.
Conchita also has made a later in her career dedication to fitness.
Nope.
But right now, nothing's paying off for her.
She hit 5 or 6 good balls there, but I mean, this is Conchita Martinez, one of the most consistent players of the 90s. If you want to be considered a great player, you got to hit 10, 15. Make Pierce hit winners now. Now, only 30 minutes into this match, she's down set point.
This is the same Mary Pierce who broke Martina Hingis to close out their semifinal match. Now a break point to win the first set. I think Conchita had a rapid heartbeat there for a moment when she saw that sailing up.
Well, this is a little of that gamesmanship you're talking about, though, because you see she starts to look like she's walking to the other side, but I bet you she knew that was out. She has to give a little bit of elbow to your opponent. It's not quite over yet, this set. That's why. She's trying to put a little extra on and pull the trigger. She just hasn't been able to generate any sort of consistency. And Mary with another set point. Either she was tired there, which I doubt, Conchita, I mean, or she's just miscalculating, because she should hang in there another couple shots, especially knowing that that Mary was cramped the other day.
Oh, and Mary Pierce misfires, and so she's let 2 set points get away.
Looking to step in, take it on the rise, finish it off, but no body language could help that miss hit. That's a first serve at 83 miles an hour. That's not scaring Mary Pierce a whole lot. So Mary does like to hit a flatter forehand. She's capable of coming over it. There was sort of the middle ground for her. Just a nice, safe, solid forehand up the line. Gives her set point number 3. She's got a look of determination, though. I've never seen her face this intense. I mean, I feel like she expects and is convinced she's going to win this. And I think at this point, Ted, the crowd just appreciates this is becoming somewhat competitive. This is a sweet point for Conchita Martinez. Best of all, hitting the drop volley winner. So give her some confidence.
In an unlikely spot for her.
At least she was smart enough when she saw the ball go over Mary's head. Move in. That's what you're taught. Get into net. Things should get a lot easier.
Boy, John, there's a great example of what you talk about, the return.
Well, once again, that was only 78 miles per hour first serve. She's just not capable of hitting a hard one, so Mary can stand at the baseline or even further inside if she chooses and rip away.
Avantage, Mademoiselle Martinez.
Mary Pierce wearing around her neck rosary beads given to her by the man who's really become her psychologist, as well as her fiance, Robbie Alomar of the Cleveland Indians. So much of what Mary Pierce has achieved in fitness and preparation for matches and intensity that you noticed, John, she credits much of that to her relationship with Alomar.
I didn't know baseball players were fit.
Oh, man.
Just a little dig at you guys. Just kidding. No, she's clearly as fit as she's ever been. And even balls below the net like that swinging backhand volley are going in. Finally, Conchita hits the forehand winner. Has to clean the line in order to get it by Mary. Swings her out wide.
Mademoiselle Martinez.
Follows it up with a rare winner off her racket. This is how she's got to play every game, Ted. Every game with this intensity. Desperation.
After a struggle, Conchita Martinez holds to stay alive in the first set.
At Morgan Stanley Dean Witter, our global expertise has always been one of our greatest assets and greatest sources of pride. Of course, whatever we achieve throughout the world, we can never forget who we're achieving it for. At Morgan Stanley Dean Witter, we measure success one investor at a time.
Jeopardy, Seinfeld, eggs, butter and jam. Jesus, Princess Diana, swing, salsa, older, younger, drama, comedy. I like the Coyote. Hope he gets it. Roadrunner.
Independent.
Republican.
Boxers.
Briefs. I don't know. The death of my coach.
Train.
Train.
Sour.
Sweet.
Crushed.
Cubed.
Sinner.
Saint.
Breast.
Leg.
Ah. My backside.
My movement.
Coffee.
Tea.
Oh, Santana.
Pearl Jam.
Backhand.
Forehand.
Wear down.
Demolish.
Don't know.
The park. A nice place to come if you have a spare 5 minutes. Maybe even spend a lunch hour. And if you let your company get left behind by technology, it's a place where you can come and spend the whole day.
The 2000 Lincoln Navigator. It's so luxurious, so comfortable, and so peaceful. You can almost hear a needle drop. The best-selling full-size luxury SUV in America. It's also the most powerful in the world. If you're interested in hearing more, drop in.
As the NBA season comes to an end.
What a play by Sabonis.
And the WNBA begins to heat up.
Behind the back pass, there's Tisha Penicheiro.
We take an in-depth look at the athletes who define the two leagues. Join host Ahmad Rashad on NBA 2000, the finals, Sunday on NBC.
Mary Pierce defeating Martina Hingis to reach this French Open final. Her second does flash back to 6 years ago when Mary Pierce made her first arrival at Roland Garros, and that time, John, she played a magnificent match to knock out #1 Steffi Graf.
Well, that may be her best match she ever played, certainly at Roland Garros. 6-2, 6-2 over the great Steffi Graf. But this year, she was able to have a couple of huge wins, Celis in the quarters, and then this lady, Martina Hingis, in the semifinals has set up this great opportunity for her.
I still am astounded. We saw them yesterday walking in the locker room after their doubles match. They played together again the day after an intense semifinal match. Doubles partners.
Once again, but I know Conchita takes big swings, but that was a real windmill forehand. Tries to hook it, misses it well long. Well, we saw them in coming back from the match, Ted. They didn't even remember the score.
They knew they'd won.
Just a day, yeah, they knew they won, but nothing else seemed to matter at that point. Boy.
Cold.
That's about as bad a forehand as you'll see in a women's final.
And John, this is really where this match is being defined, as well as Martinez played the last game and had to fight so hard just to hold her own serve, she can't even win a point on Mary Pierce's serve. 2
points now in the entire first set. Not going to get it done. And this is where Mary's so much tougher, is the fact that we saw it with Hingis. We saw her lose the first set to Celis. She lost the game there, but she comes right back. Focus is there, takes control. You feel she's once again regained total control. Now 3 more set points. Unfortunately for Conchita, 5-2 40 love when that ball was struck.
15.
Nicely done, but we're going to have to see a lot more of those at more important occasions if she's going to come back and win this.
So Mary Pierce is halfway there. And this crowd starts to sense it. 6-2 in the first set.